only this time in different hands. And Toon Link, a character that I feel like isn't as popular as he could be. He like explodes when it comes to popularity. People sometimes just forget he's in the game, and then all of a sudden we get a lot of him. But I'm curious
Yeah.
to see how Ice on Deck presents the tools because we should have a very heavy projectile battle on our hands.
Yeah, when you think about Toon Link, you don't really think much except how much you have to rely on your projectiles. And you could say the same about Young Link and or Link. But when you're Link, you know, you have just a strong, heavy artillery game in your smash attacks and just your strong attacks in general. And with Young Link, you know, being a lot more quicker on his feet, you know, his options are a lot more faster. He pulls out the bomb a little faster. The boomerang goes a lot faster as well. You know, a lot of factors come into why Toon Link isn't the most common Link that you'll see out there. But yeah, like you mentioned before, it's going to be a heavy projectile-based game, and depending on how Ice on Deck is able to utilize all the projectiles to get all the confirms that he needs, we can definitely be seeing this Toon Link put in a lot of good work. I mean, we've seen what the Toon Links can do in other tourneys already, so we know this character is not just, you know, bad. It's definitely good in some ways,
Oh,
depending on
certainly.
how you use it.
Definitely. Toon Link, while might be uncommon as a character, I don't feel is especially bad. Uh, it's worth noting that while having maybe the most potent projectile pressure of the three links,
Yeah.
it also does have a notable combo game, but he's light. He is susceptible to dying pretty heavy, especially if KOOBA is going to be swinging out there. We see the up smash manage to take the first stock. But that being said, I feel like a lot of Toon Link's buttons up close do give him the opportunity to rack up those damage where it's needed, and more importantly, take stage control. While forward air itself is pretty potent, it may not have the opportunity to kill R.O.B that well, but it is going to clear away a lot of stage space, and with all that stage space, gives Ice on Deck a lot more safety in their zoning.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, you know, projectile based is going to be all that Toon Link really have to rely on because most, if not all of his confirms really just go down to however he uses his boomerang or his bombs and or arrows because at this percent, you know, Toon Link really does struggle to kill outside of just not using his projectiles, but a character that doesn't struggle, especially when he has you off stage, is R.O.B with that side beat. Once again, having a comfortable lead, still sitting at high percent, but it seems like Ice on Deck really can't find his footing right now to take this first stock.
Yeah, no, he's reached the point with a zoning character where you just struggle to get the kill. Back air is not the tool to do it. In fact, back air I think is a great combo tool to use against R.O.B by virtue of R.O.B hard mod. Forward air, though, that's going to be the one to do it. I feel like forward air and up air are going to be the name of the game for when it comes to Ice on Deck being able to actually keep R.O.B out of the air and threatened with kill.
Yeah.
But getting to that point, I feel like is going to be more and more difficult because of how well acclimated I think KOOBA is to getting through these projectiles. Like, he's taking a hit here and there from boomerang and arrow. He doesn't really care about it because he knows if he gets in with a narrow or the gyro, he's getting just as much damage, if not more.
Yeah, but you're seeing the gyro, yeah, right there. Since Toon Link is a very little, well, Link,
Hold on.
I don't even know if it's a boy, he gets away with that just because the moment that R.O.B wants to utilize gyro, he really is not gonna, either he's gonna overthrow it or he's just not gonna be able to touch the character because of his height. But now the gyro coming into effect, yeah, there's no need to try to recover when you're already dead. Good snipe right there from KOOBA, taking game one in a pretty convincing fashion. I feel like Ice on Deck did really good in that game one. It was just more of trying to find those kill confirms, was not connecting in his favor. But good stuff to both players.
Yeah, I think as far as the zoning game is concerned, Ice on Deck had the projectiles placed right. I saw a lot more arrow than I was expecting, but what I want to see a bit more of is use of the Zair and use of the back air. Use those quicker tools to be able to actually like get in and do something with that damage. Because Toon Link doesn't struggle too hard to find the kill on big characters. I feel like that's a very important distinction to make because while R.O.B can zone just as effectively, I think KOOBA has been approaching fairly recklessly and pressing a lot of buttons. Those buttons that Toon Link can punish very heavily if Ice on Deck actually picks them. And I feel like the stage itself was actually a great choice for that. I think Toon Link can play to the stage really well. But if we're going to either see the return to that stage or go to another stage, I would like to see something with a little bit more space just off of how KOOBA was playing. I think a pick into Town and City would be really smart from Ice on Deck.
Yeah, definitely when you're a projectile-based character, you want to have as much space as possible, but we aren't going to get
Oh,
we
no.
are going to get a small battlefield, which
Yeah.
in terms, I mean, it's almost the same stage, just the blast zones are a little bit more farther, and the platform is a little higher in the stage. So I
I
believe
think
it's
as
higher, right?
far as
Is it higher or lower?
it's like lower by like 2 units. It's not, relatively speaking, that much lower, but it is worth noting that the stage itself is smaller than Stadium. This is like where I said where I think Ice on Deck could use a little bit more space to breathe a little bit. This is like instead just hitting the acceleration. We're just redlining on this one. By keeping things really close in, I feel like Ice on Deck is going to be very heavily rewarded for boxing buttons, whether we see Nair, back air, Zair, even close range boomerang, just to set up something in the air, I think is going to work out super well for Ice on Deck. But just the same, it can work out really well for KOOBA, because I think neutral air from R.O.B is even more rewarding of a button to press here, because it's not only your combo starter, but it's going to deny that platform space.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned before that Toon Link wants to have a lot of space at the back air. Nice catch right there from KOOBA, gonna steal the stock. But what I wanted to mention was, I believe the reasoning not going to Town City, maybe one, it could have been banned, but two, since it's such a projectile based game, and since KOOBA's already being aggressive, I think Ice on Deck wants to take that to his advantage. Okay, get limited space will mean he's gonna come in a lot closer, and I'll be able to just get these setups a little bit quicker. He won't have that much space to move, because R.O.B, even if he doesn't get in his face, he has the gyro, he has the lasers, and now you're seeing damage being racked up already. But like, one thing you want to keep in mind, Ice on Deck is at least putting this in his mindset, is the less space I give R.O.B to like breathe and have these gyro setups and or laser setups as he's doing right now, then the more chance I have to at least get in his face if I'm able to find the openings. But it seems like he's not finding any openings. Almost getting punished right there from the gyro to back air, but just good DI right there to move out of the way and prevent himself from dying and being in a 3-1 stock scenario once again. But off stage is not a place you want to be as Toon Link.
He's not dead yet. I feel like a lot of what would have made this the stage choice smart is predicated on a change of play, but we're seeing Ice on Deck opt for a very similar zoning play. But in close quarters, it's not as rewarding against R.O.B because throwing out laser and gyro is far less committal than the projectile buttons that we see from Toon. You finally see it confirmed going into the kill there, but that's still an entire stock behind, and KOOBA not really slowed down in their approach. One button that I think has been the huge factor for how this match has played out is R.O.B's down tilt. I think the way that KOOBA has used it to check anytime Ice on Deck has moved too far is just super smart. And no, he was too far from the ledge. I think he pressed that in panic because KOOBA was hunting in with the arm rotor, but hey, it got the job done eventually. KOOBA taking a pretty goofy end to game 2 and ending it out 2-0 over Ice on Deck.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even need the whole hit of the side B to seal your opponent's stock. It just takes the last hit at times, as we saw right there. It is going to be enough. KOOBA will take it 2-0. Ice on Deck, I feel like, had some questionable options there, as you mentioned before. He wasn't really taking full advantage of what he could have done with Toon Link in terms of the projectile game.